The restaurant glowed with warm lights and soft music, creating a calm evening that made every guest feel welcome. Maya, the young waitress, moved between tables with a gentle smile, carrying a tray with steady hands. She liked her simple job and tried to make every customer feel comfortable. She never caused trouble, and she never expected trouble to find her. But this night was about to change everything. Front door opened, and in walked a couple who pulled every eye in the room. The man named Ethan wore a dark suit and carried himself with quiet confidence. But the woman beside him stole the attention. Her name was Bella, and she wore a silver dress that caught every light like broken stars. Her expression was sharp, her chin lifted high, and she looked around as if nothing in the restaurant was good enough for her. Maya stepped forward, ready to greet them with kindness. Bella did not smile. She scanned Maya from head to toe and whispered something to Ethan, who looked uneasy. Maya guided them to a window table where the city lights shined like tiny lanterns. She pulled out the chair for Bella and tried to keep everything perfect, but Bella already seemed annoyed by the chair, the table, and even Maya's presence. When Maya handed them the menus, Bella complained about the font, the layout, and the smell of the paper. She said the candles were too dim, the music too soft, and the table too close to other guests. Maya listened patiently, even though her heart felt heavy. She left to bring their drinks, hoping things would calm down, but the night had other plans. Maya returned with 2 glasses on a small tray. Bella stood up at the same moment, her silver dress brushing the edge of the table. Then came a loud ripping sound that echoed through the room. A tear opened across the side of Bella's dress. Bella gasped. Ethan froze, and every guest nearby turned to look. Maya stared in shock, unable to understand what had happened. Then Bella's shock turned into anger. She pointed at Maya, accusing her of ruining the dress, saying Maya must have pulled the chair wrong or moved too close. Maya shook her head, trying to explain that she never touched the dress, but Bella refused to listen. She stepped closer, her voice rising enough for the whole restaurant to hear, calling Maya careless and untrained. People whispered, phones lifted to record. Ethan tried to calm Bella, but she pushed his hand away. She wanted someone to blame, and Maya stood right there. Bella grabbed Maya lightly by the arm, not hurting her, but making the moment feel tense. She leaned close and whispered that Maya would pay for this, that someone like Maya had no right to be near people like her. Maya felt her stomach twist. She tried again to explain, but Bella shouted over her, demanding the manager at once. The manager hurried over, looking worried. Bella told him a dramatic story full of lies, claiming Maya destroyed the dress on purpose, claiming the dress cost more than Maya's whole monthly salary. Maya tried to defend herself, but Bella interrupted her again and again. The manager looked torn between keeping a wealthy customer happy and defending his staff. Bella crossed her arms and raised her chin, waiting for everyone to agree with her. Ethan stayed silent, his face red with embarrassment. Maya felt the weight of every eye on her. She held the tray tight to stop her hands from shaking. Her heart beat painfully fast, and her breath felt trapped inside her chest. She had never been humiliated like this in her life. The manager apologized to Bella and said they would investigate the situation and consider Maya's future at the restaurant. Bella smirked, pleased with the answer. Maya felt tears building in her eyes. She whispered again that she had done nothing wrong, but her voice sounded small compared to Bella's loud accusations. Bella turned away as if Maya did not matter. Ethan sighed, but still did not defend her. Maya walked toward the back of the restaurant, her vision blurry and her heart aching. Everything felt heavy, the room, the sounds, the shame. She felt alone, even though people surrounded her. She feared losing her job, but she feared the humiliation even more. She hoped the night would end soon so she could go home and escape this painful memory. But Maya did not know that the story was far from over. Someone was waiting outside. Someone who cared for her. Someone who would not let this cruel moment be the end of her dignity or her hope. Someone strong was ready to change everything for her. That night Maya stood in the narrow hallway behind the kitchen, with her hands shaking and her breath unsteady. Her heart felt like it was sinking deeper and deeper. as voices from the dining area echoed through the walls. Bella's angry tone carried farther than any normal conversation, and every sharp word made Maya feel smaller. The chef gave her a worried glance but said nothing because he already knew. Bella's type customers who believed the world belonged only to them, and no one else mattered. Maya tried to wipe her tears, but more kept falling. She leaned against the wall and closed her eyes, wishing she could disappear. But the sound of footsteps grew louder. Bella was not done yet. Bella marched toward the hallway with Ethan following behind her. Ethan looked tired and uncomfortable, but Bella looked like a queen ready to deliver her final judgment. Maya stepped back as Bella's eyes locked on her, those eyes sharp and cold as ice. Bella told Maya that she would pay for the dress, that she would lose her job, that someone like her had no business talking to people with money. Maya tried to speak, but Bella lifted her hand to silence her. Ethan tried whispering to Bella, telling her that maybe they should leave and calm down. But Bella waved him off and said she wanted to make an example out of Maya. She wanted every worker in this place to fear her name. Maya felt her heart squeeze tightly inside her chest. The humiliation was painful, but the fear of losing her job burned even more. This job was simple and humble, but it mattered to her, and she needed it. Bella took out her phone and said she would post about the restaurant online and destroy its reputation unless the manager fired Maya immediately. The manager arrived again, his face pale and stressed. He looked from Bella to Maya, unsure what to do. Bella glared at him and said the whole restaurant had seen the disaster and it was his responsibility to fix it. Ethan stood behind her, rubbing his forehead as if he wished the entire scene would vanish. Maya felt a small spark of strength inside her. She stepped forward and told the manager that she did not touch Bella's dress, and she never damaged anything. But her voice trembled, and Bella laughed at her shaking words. Bella said Maya was lying, and that the video someone recorded would show everything. Maya swallowed hard, because she did not know what the camera had captured. She only knew the truth, but the truth felt weak next to Bella's loud confidence. The manager apologized again to Bella and said he would speak to Maya privately. Bella smirked as if victory tasted sweet, and she turned to leave the hallway. Ethan followed her, but his steps were slow, like he did not want to be part of this any longer. Bella walked back to the dining room with her chin high while Maya stayed frozen in place, feeling like the walls were closing in on her. The manager told Maya he needed to talk to her after her shift. Maya nodded even though her stomach twisted painfully. She returned to the dining area, quietly wiping her face and praying no one would stare at her, but she could feel many eyes watching. Some guests whispered, some pointed at Bella's torn dress, some even gave Maya small looks of sympathy. But none of that could erase the shame sitting on her shoulders like a heavy blanket. Maya tried to continue serving other tables. Though her hands felt weak, Bella sat proudly at her table as if she owned the entire room. Ethan kept his eyes lowered, barely speaking. Maya walked past them to bring water to a nearby family, and Bella whispered loud enough for Maya to hear, saying that untrained staff should not be allowed near important people like her. Maya bit her lip to stop the tears that threatened to fall again. She placed the water on the next table and walked away quickly, her chest tight and painful. Bella looked satisfied seeing Maya in distress, and she leaned back in her chair with a smug smile. Ethan glanced at Maya as she passed by, and he looked guilty, but he said nothing. Bella kept bragging loudly about her dress, about her shopping trips, about all the money she spent, as if she wanted Maya to feel even poorer. Maya tried to keep working, but every step felt heavier. The humiliation had not faded, it kept growing like a shadow following her. Maya knew she needed the job, but she wondered how she could survive the rest of the night. Near the kitchen door, the chef called softly to her, asking if she was all right. Maya nodded, but her eyes told the truth. The chef told her to breathe and stay strong because people like Bella came and went, but honest workers stayed. Maya gave him a weak smile and walked back out to finish her tasks, but she still felt the weight of Bella's insults pressing down on her shoulders. Bella continued feeding her anger with every comment, and Ethan continued sitting silently as if trapped between guilt and fear. Minutes felt like hours, and the night felt endless. The restaurant lights shimmered gently, but the atmosphere felt heavy. Every sound felt sharper. Every whisper felt like it was about her. Maya knew she had to keep going until the shift ended, even though her heart felt bruised. She carried plates, wiped tables, and forced a small smile whenever someone looked at her. But deep inside she felt broken, like she had failed even though she knew she had done nothing wrong. The night finally neared its end, and Maya stepped outside for a moment to breathe the cool air. Her hands still shook from the stress, and she wondered how she would face tomorrow. She did not know that someone was watching from a nearby car, someone who cared for her, someone who had seen her pain many times before, someone who was ready to step into this cruel night and turn everything upside down for her sake. Maya stood outside the restaurant with the cool night air brushing against her tired face. Her hands still trembled from the long, painful evening, and her eyes felt heavy from holding back tears. She looked at the streetlights glowing softly across the road, wishing she could hide from the whole world. She hugged her arms around herself, trying to calm her shaking breath. She did not know what she would tell her husband, Adrian, because she never wanted to bring her worries home, but tonight felt too heavy, too cruel, too hard to carry alone. A quiet black car sat just a few steps away, its headlights dim and gentle. Inside the car, Adrian watched Maya through the windshield, his heart tightening when he saw how defeated she looked. He opened the door and stepped out, moving toward her with calm, steady steps. Maya felt a mix of surprise and relief. When she noticed him, she wiped her cheeks quickly, not wanting him to see her sadness, but Adrian already knew something was wrong. He reached her side and placed a warm hand on her shoulder, asking softly what had happened inside the restaurant. Maya wanted to speak, but her voice cracked. She tried again and managed to tell him that a customer blamed her for something she did not do, that the manager might take action against her, that the whole restaurant had watched her humiliation like a show. Adrian listened without saying a word, his expression calm, but his eyes dark with rising anger. He had seen unfairness before, but seeing it crush Maya made something strong awaken inside him. He gently held her hands and told her she was not alone, that he would listen to every detail and stand with her no matter what came next. Maya took a deep breath and told him everything, from the moment Bella walked in with her cold eyes to the awful moment when the dress ripped, to the cruel way Bella lied and demanded her job. Adrian stayed silent as she spoke, but the pressure in his chest grew heavier. He wanted to protect her from all pain, yet tonight she had faced cruelty. He could not stop. Maya's voice trembled as she explained how the manager doubted her, how customers stared at her, how Bella kept insulting her again and again. Adrian steadied her with his touch and encouraged her to keep speaking. When she finally finished, Maya looked down at the ground, feeling embarrassed and defeated. Adrian gently lifted her chin so she would look at him. His voice remained calm, but there was strength in every word. He told her that nothing she described was her fault, that Bella's behavior came from cruelty, not truth, and that Maya deserved respect, not humiliation. Maya felt a small wave of comfort hearing his words, yet she still feared the consequences at work. Adrian noticed her worry and squeezed her hands gently, telling her that he would not let anyone harm her future or her dignity. Adrian guided Maya toward the car and opened the door for her. The moment she sat inside, she felt a little safer, as if the small space protected her from the harsh world outside. Adrian sat beside her and took a slow breath before speaking again. He told her he had suspected something was wrong when she did not answer his earlier message and decided to wait for her outside the restaurant. Maya felt her chest warm with gratitude, because even when she tried hiding her sadness, Adrian always sensed it and always came to help. The car remained still as they quietly talked. Maya leaned her head on the seat, feeling tired but supported. Adrian reached into the small compartment and handed her a bottle of water, telling her to sip slowly to calm her shaking. She followed his advice and felt her breath steady bit by bit. Adrian then said something that made her lift her head. He told her he knew who owned the company where Ethan worked, and that Bella's arrogance would Not be forgotten, Maya blinked in confusion, because she never fully understood the extent of Adrian's influence nor how far his connections reached. Adrian leaned back and told her there were many things she did not know about his position in the business world, because he always tried to live simply with her, but tonight he would not stay silent. He said certain people in power believe they could mistreat others without consequence, but he would make sure the truth came to light. Maya felt nervous because she never wanted trouble, never wanted revenge, but Adrian assured her that he only wanted fairness and respect for her. He told her that no one had the right to destroy her peace or her confidence. The car engine started slowly, and Adrian told Maya he was taking her home where she could rest and regain her strength, but he also made a quiet promise that he would handle everything. He would not shout, he would not threaten, he would not act out of anger, but he would act with calm power and with a plan. Maya looked at him with tired eyes filled with gratitude, because for the first time that night she felt safe. She felt seen and protected, and she knew something was about to change, not because she fought back, but because someone who loved her would fight for her. Morning arrived faster than Maya expected, and she woke up with the heavy fear from last night still sitting inside her chest. She moved slowly through the small kitchen of her apartment while Adrian prepared tea for her, his movements calm and thoughtful. Maya tried to smile, but the worry in her heart would not fade. She kept replaying Bella's cruel words over and over, hearing them echo in her mind like a sharp wind. Adrian watched her quietly, already forming a plan in his head, because he knew today would be the day everything changed. Adrian asked her if she wanted to stay home and rest, but Maya shook her head, saying she needed to return to the restaurant to speak with the manager. Even though her stomach twisted at the thought, Adrian understood her, but he also knew she should not face everything alone. He told her he would drive her, and she did not need to argue because she already knew he would not let her walk through another painful moment without him. They left the apartment together, Maya nervous and Adrian focused inside the car. Adrian kept one hand on the steering wheel and the other resting near hers, as if reminding her she was not alone. Maya watched the familiar streets pass by, but she barely saw anything around her because all she could think about was Bella and Ethan sitting in that restaurant, acting like they owned the world. She felt her throat tighten, remembering the humiliation from the night before. Adrian glanced at her and gently reassured her that today she would not be the one trembling in fear. Today the truth would stand on her side. But Adrian had more than comforting words. He had influence, and he had connections he rarely spoke about. Maya had always known he worked in the business world, but she never fully understood how large his reach was, and how many companies sought his approval. Now she was about to see a part of him she had never seen before. Adrian held a calm power inside him, one that did not shout or threaten, but one that made people listen and reconsider their choices. Instead of going straight to the restaurant, Adrian drove to a tall glass building in the city center. Maya looked up at it with confusion, because she recognized the logo. It was the headquarters of the company where Ethan worked. Maya turned to Adrian and asked why they were here. Adrian simply told her he needed to attend a quick meeting before dropping her off. Maya did not question him because she trusted him, but she could not shake the feeling that something unusual was about to happen. Adrian guided her inside the building, and every employee they passed bowed their heads slightly in respect. This confused Maya even more because she had never experienced such treatment in a place filled with people wearing suits and carrying tablets. Adrian led her to a private lounge and told her to wait for a few minutes. Maya sat in a soft chair, her fingers twisting nervously, while Adrian walked into a large meeting room where several executives stood waiting for him. The moment Adrian entered the room, the executives straightened their posture and greeted him politely. Ethan was among them, and when he saw Adrian, his face lost all color. Ethan's eyes widened because he recognized Adrian instantly. Even though Maya never mentioned him, Ethan knew Adrian's reputation in the business world, and he knew Adrian held power in decisions that could strengthen or break partnerships. Ethan swallowed hard as Adrian took a seat at the head of the table with calm authority. Adrian asked for the report on their current projects, and then he slowly shifted the conversation toward customer relations and public image. Ethan's hands shook because he already sensed where this was going. Adrian spoke in a steady tone, explaining that a recent incident involving Ethan's partner had come to his attention, and he believed the company deserved to know the truth. Ethan tried to speak, but Adrian raised his hand to silence him. Adrian described Bella's behavior at the restaurant. The insults, the accusations, the lies, the demand for someone innocent to be fired. He spoke without anger, yet every word carried weight. The executives exchanged uneasy glances because they knew how quickly a scandal like that could damage their brand. Ethan tried to defend himself, saying he was not responsible for Bella's actions, but Adrian reminded him that public perception did not separate personal and professional behavior, especially when the partner of a key leader was involved. Then Adrian delivered the part Ethan feared most. He said he would reconsider his partnership with the company because he could not support a team associated with cruelty and dishonesty. Ethan panicked and begged Adrian to give him a chance to resolve everything. Adrian stayed silent for a moment, letting Ethan feel the weight of the situation before saying that there might still be a chance, but only if the company handled the situation properly and treated Maya with full fairness and respect. Meanwhile, Maya sat in the quiet lounge, unaware of the storm happening behind closed doors. She only felt uneasy because Adrian had been gone longer than she expected. She wondered what kind of meeting required so much time, but she trusted Adrian more than anyone in the world, and she waited patiently, unaware that her name was being spoken in a room filled with powerful people, and unaware that everything was about to turn in her favor as the truth slowly began to rise above the lies. Maya sat quietly in the soft lounge chair, unaware of the storm happening in the meeting room upstairs. Her hands rested on her lap, but they still trembled from the painful memory of the night before. She tried to breathe slowly, telling herself that Adrian was near and that he always protected her. She looked out the wide window where the morning light spread across the city, and she wished her heart felt as bright as the sky outside. Inside the meeting room, Ethan stood frozen as Adrian finished speaking. The executives stared at Ethan with disappointment written across their faces. Adrian calmly explained that he believed in fairness and respect, and that would happen too. Maya could not be ignored. Ethan tried to defend himself, saying he had not encouraged Bella's behavior, but Adrian reminded him that staying silent while someone was being mistreated was still a choice, and that choice had consequences. The executives agreed that the restaurant incident needed immediate attention. If the video of Bella shouting at Maya reached the public, it could damage the company image. Ethan felt his chest tighten because he knew the video existed, and he feared how it would spread. Adrian remained calm but firm, showing a strength that made everyone listen. They understood that Adrian rarely spoke with such seriousness, unless something deeply mattered to him. After some discussion, the executive said they needed to meet with Bella and hear her explanation. Ethan nodded, even though he knew it would not go well. Bella never accepted her mistakes and always blamed others. Adrian stood up and said he would join the meeting because he wanted to make sure the truth was respected and that Maya did not face more lies or blame. Ethan looked down in shame, knowing the situation had grown far beyond his control. Downstairs, Maya rose from her seat when she saw Adrian step out of the elevator. He walked toward her with steady steps, his calm energy comforting her. He told her gently that there was another meeting she needed to attend. Maya's stomach tightened, but she trusted Adrian and followed him. He guided her into a meeting room where Ethan, the executives, and several company staff members stood waiting. A moment later, Bella entered the room wearing another expensive dress and carrying her usual arrogance. She glanced around, unaware of what was coming, until her eyes landed on Maya, then on Adrian, then on Ethan. Confusion spread across her face. She demanded to know why she had been called in so early and why the waitress was standing there. Executives explained that they needed to hear the truth about the restaurant incident, and that honesty from everyone was required. Bella smirked and said there was no confusion because Maya had ruined her dress and acted unprofessionally. Adrian said nothing at first. Then he pressed a button on a small device. The screen on the wall lit up, showing the video taken at the restaurant. Bella's face changed instantly as the room watched her yelling, insulting, and blaming Maya without proof. Ethan lowered his head, unable to watch the scene again. Maya stood still, her hands shaking but her heart finally feeling a small spark of relief. Bella tried to interrupt the video, saying she had been misunderstood, saying the camera angle was wrong, but her voice sounded weak. Now the executives had seen the truth, and none of her excuses mattered. Adrian looked at Bella and told her that cruelty was never acceptable, no matter how wealthy someone was. He said that Maya had done nothing wrong, and that blaming innocent people was a dangerous habit. Bella stepped back, her confidence fading like melting ice. The executives informed Bella that her behavior had put the company at risk. They said her actions reflected poorly on Ethan and on the values of the business. Bella shouted that it was unfair, but her voice no longer held its usual strength. Adrian remained calm, telling her that respect was something every person deserved, whether rich or poor, powerful or humble. His words hit harder than anger because they carried truth and dignity. Maya felt tears gather in her eyes, but this time the tears came from relief, not pain. She had spent the night feeling powerless, but now she watched the truth rise above the lies. Adrian stepped beside her and held her hand, reminding her that she was not alone. Ethan apologized softly, saying he regretted not defending her, and that fear had controlled him. Bella stayed silent, trembling with shock as she realized she could not twist the story any longer. Meeting ended with the executives promising to take action and clear Maya's name. Adrian guided Maya out of the room with quiet strength. His warm hand around hers felt like a promise that she would never face darkness alone again. The hallway felt brighter than it had when she first entered, and Maya felt her heart lift because justice was finally touching her life, and the truth was no longer hidden.